Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Frankfort Township Board of Education has called advance notice of this meeting and general agenda to be submitted for publishing in the official newspapers as well as district and municipal offices on May 17th, 2024. This meeting will be recorded for subsequent public broadcast. Please rise to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. Jesse Vaughn.
Here.
John Tiger.
Here.
Chelsea Stoll.
Here.
Charlene Molnar.
Here.
Chris Dexter. Not here. Jamie Armando.
Here.
Kathleen Adam.
Here.
Caitlin Fredo.
Here.
Mandy Joust. Here. Okay, so we start off with a very great thing. I'll read our staff member of the month's nomination. I worked with a teacher this year, here's Chris Dexter, who could be nominated any month for Teacher of the Month or year, Mrs. Gray. I'm lucky to be in her classroom for 2 different periods and 2 different subject matters, social studies and science. Both of her classes have a variety of teaching, learning experiences for the kids. Mrs. Gray's classes are not just packets, quizzes, and ed puzzles, but include numerous projects, experiments, presentations, games, discussions, and various educational videos. She allows kids to work on assignments independently, sometimes in pairs or threes or groups. Sometimes letting kids decide, sometimes it's her choice. I believe Jen really tries to engage the kids and keep their attention. Most games, projects, and experiments are not on their computers, but hands-on. Mrs. Gray's classes are interactive and interesting for the kids, and Paras too. She is also willing to try new things and is the first to say, "This is new for me too." She has full control of her classroom, not a class that you see a lot of kids acting out. Please consider Mrs. Gray for an upcoming Teacher of the Month or sit in a class of hers. I'd like to say that I'm smarter than a 5th grader, but I've learned several things this year from her classes. Congratulations, Mrs. Gray. Maybe you know who nominated you. It doesn't say. It's a mystery of all your parents. You also get a gift card. So congratulations, Teacher of the Month. Okay. So next up is Recognition Circle. I don't think we have any new ads, but I do want to just say something. I'm very happy there's Recognition Circle, but in looking at the budget, it does cost money. And without looking at your agenda, who can tell me who's on there this month? I can tell you when I'm at pickup, not one parent notices. No one notices it. When I'm out there, I ask, who is that? I can tell you a lot of parents here do not know who Jennifer Nelst is. But it just is like, I don't want to say it's wasting money because it is a recognition that we have. But I just feel like something like Mrs. Gray, this, where you get a gift certificate, is a little bit more than this because not many people notice it. And it does cost $600 a year. And we're on a tight budget.
How about the LED board? Because that's still in the
Instead of a
circle.
street
And
sign.
just
Yeah, instead of a
have it like-
street sign, we could just put it on there instead
The
of
only
ordering
reason
a
I
street
know who's
sign.
on there is because she posted it.
Yeah, she posted
That's
it.
the
Jen
only
did
reason I
post
know.
it.
I
Well,
would've
somebody
never
posted
known.
it for Jen, like, oh, look who's up there. And then Jen texted me. She's like, wow, I'm up there. I didn't even know I would be. And I was like, okay, I think you were here when we said you would be, but that's all right.
I don't think anyone realizes that their name actually goes up there though.
Yeah.
They just think they're
What,
being
do
recognized.
do they get the sign afterwards?
Yeah,
That's
but-
how it works with the town, yeah.
I think you get
Okay.
the sign afterwards, but like, I'm trying to say this nicely. I hate junk. Like,
Yeah,
I
no,
try
I'm
to
not- I'm
purge
just saying,
everything I
like,
can purge.
They'll know they were there because they'll get the sign.
Whereas it's gonna get thrown in the garage probably.
Yeah, like, so I don't know if we could revisit it next year at budget time, or
Yes.
we could reallocate the $600 this year to something else. But I do agree, we do have the LED sign and we could put something up there in recognition. And of course, I would wanna finish this list because we did make these promises to these people, but, so, think about it.
Very good point.
Just trying to save money wherever we can. Okay, so then we have Mason Romash as our Frankfurt hero. Do you need to say anything about that? Or no? You don't have to if you don't want to.
I had it and I lost it. So
I'm sure you'll tell him.
I will say, so Mason has already been nominated, he's already been told. And this was presented by Mrs. Febrez as Mason being a student who is constantly polite, constantly kind, constantly going out of his way to make sure that his classmates are aware of their surroundings, the people around them, and how they should be acting towards each other and everybody else. And Mrs. Febrez felt it was important that he get his due. And he
Great.
had a plate of fries and cookies and cream ice cream on me.
What a good hero. Okay, so then we have Sussex County SBA Unsung Hero Award going to Ellie Hernandez, and I believe that's on March 31st, right? I have a work commitment that night, I don't know, is it 2 board members go?
I mean, any board members that can go, or Mr. Sylvester and I will be there.
Okay.
We're both planning on
If
going to
anybody,
represent.
it's March 31st, if anybody wants to reach out to them and coordinate going.
I went last year, it's a nice night.
I know, I would have
Yeah.
went this year, but I don't know her personally, but I would have went, but
It's just nice to hear about all the kids from all the other
Yeah.
schools too and what they've done.
so that's great, good for her. No student council update, superintendent principal section.
All right, so I'll start with the staff basketball game. We recently had, oh man,
We have the MVP
Was it a
here.
good try, Dominic?
Yeah.
There.
thank goodness for Mr. Sylvester, that's the reason it was as close as it was. But we took a tough
That'll
one,
never
Mr.
happen.
Blockaruba knows.
That was a
next year.
fluke, that was the true definition of a
I
fluke.
tell you what, you're a
I
gamer.
sneezed. I just went in.
For a wrestler, you looked pretty good out there.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do student staff wrestling match.
Yeah. There we go.
I don't know.
I would have, that would be.
that sounds horrible. Dominic, you too!
Nope.
Dominic, you had a nice bridge.
Big no.
Yes. So, now we know what we need to do leading into next year.
Right.
The training has already started, and
Down.
we're very motivated as a staff. To end this, I think it's 5 years.
You know,
streak.
Well, you know,
Let me
next
just ask you
year,
real, Max is in 8th grade next year.
Yep.
You're a board member.
I was just gonna say, Dylan's in
Dylan's
8th
in
grade
8th
next
grade next year.
year. School board,
I can play that.
Yeah.
Let's expand the.
Sydney
might
could
cheer.
cheer.
It
Sydney
might
could
be,
cheer.
And you might get through 2
there might
minutes.
be able to be a stacked team
Yeah.
next year.
I-
That'd be really.
All right.
We can get.
So excited.
I definitely wasn't the difference maker.
But you look good out there.
Hey,
Running up and down court.
that's what I'm looking for.
But what a cool experience, a full gym, so cool to see. I believe the 8th grade class got about $1,300 for their picnic, so that should be fully covered, which is phenomenal. So
Great turnout.
yeah, great turnout, just a great evening. Cheerleaders too were there at halftime. They did a
Sydney
great
did
job.
great.
Yeah,
Allison.
very cool. And then I'll just discuss Pi Day that we recently had on Friday. Also my first experience with that. So the top 4 staff members that the kids during lunch put money in the jars and the buckets. Of course, Mr. Sylvester, myself, and I think it was Mr. Simons and Mr. Post. We got pied by the 4 students, 5th through 8th grade, who recited the most numbers or digits in pi. So that was also a very fun, cool experience. Luckily I escaped, it just grazed my head. Dave took a pie right square in the face. I heard the metal just ricochet off.
Aiden, I was gonna
Oh,
say, Aiden for
yeah.
the second year in a row.
He's hoping
Got me.
Warrior Street.
That's really fun.
Good job.
It was
Wow.
Lily Davy from 5th grade, Aiden 6th grade, Abby Simons 7th grade who did our dad, and then
And
Jack gave,
Do the kids pick who they
who did
want?
130,
Yeah.
No.
130 numbers by Jack.
Crazy.
That's amazing.
But yeah, those are just like 2, things, that I felt were worth mentioning here. There's a lot of upcoming events. And then finally, just talking about the preliminary budget, just a little backstory and history on that. Thank you to the Finance Committee. We've met, we've discussed, we've looked at, everything in depth. And I think it's also worth noting the state really promoted that no school would take less than a 3% loss. And what came to a surprise for everybody, at least in the county, at the most recent roundtable I was at last Tuesday, was you couldn't get more than 6% of what you were owed, meaning that we were capped at getting 6%. So we got the $27,000, but after doing some more research,
This was last year, 41,000.
I'm sorry, $41,000, but after doing some more research, we were actually owed $60,000 more that the state did not give us because that would be above the 6%. So a lot of schools were in similar situations. It's kind of ironic that during the whole S2, local fair share, this and that, they had no problem taking away. But then based on the numbers and the figures, we're rightfully owed $60,000 more, but they came up with the formula of, oh, you can't get more than 6%.
So it's owed to us, but we're not allowed to have it.
Exactly, like many other schools figured out that they were also
Nice of them.
in the same boat. But all things considered, I think we're in a good spot based on our, our finance committee meetings. We have a lot of, good ideas, and I know it's definitely much better than I know like a lot of other schools were at this time last year. We don't anticipate having to cut any staff, which is a big win. I think we've thought of some creative ways. I know Mr. Lassard will go into more depth and more detail, but to combat the rising, inflation costs that everybody's, dealing with, just the price of everything, going up. So with that, I'll leave it there for my superintendent's report.
Do you have a report, Mr. Sylvester?
We did have a case of harassment, intimidation, and bullying this month. That was confirmed. That was case 2425-4. Other than that, really, Mr. Newman really kind of hit all the highlights of this past month.
Thank you. Motion to open public comment.
Motion?
Second.
Any public comments?
No, going once, twice, 3 times?
Motion to close public comment.
Motion?
Second.
Second.
Okay, so we have a lot of activities going on this month. Tomorrow is the parent info night for the 8th grade trip here in the library, 6 to 8. Trex Marketplace and Family Fun Night hosted by the PTA on Wednesday. The 21st, we have the FTA Pet Fiber Fun, 4 to 6 p.m. The 25th, Jump Rope for Heart, 3 p.m. The 31st, Unsung Heroes Awards ceremony. April 3rd, High Point Musical Preview for grades 5 through 8. April 5th is the FTA Pep Egg Hunt at noon. April 7th through the 14th, we'll have the book fair. April 8th is the PTA meeting. April 9th and 10th are early dismissal and spring conferences. The 10th, also at 7:15, is the 5th grade parent meeting for Camp Mason. The 11th is the superintendent's roundtable recipient banquet. You missed Mr. Lassard. April 16th is your favorite board president's birthday. April 17th is the PTA STEAM night. April 18th through the 25th is spring break, so school will be closed. So that's what we have. And then I think the Monday after that is the board meeting, right? April 28th?
Yes.
So we have a lot going on. Policy and curriculum.
Yep, I'll follow up on Treps Come Support. There's 38 Treppers this year who have worked hard to get their businesses up and running. At the same time, the PTA will be hosting their Outer Space Jam. So come on over and have a dance party, outdoor dance party, listen to a story, or indoor dance party, a glow jam, and listen to a story and then come shop what these great entrepreneurs have at the marketplace is great. The other thing I'm also looking forward already to is summertime and the student choice boards that we send home for all of the kids in incoming 1st through 8th grade, and trying to figure out a way to add something to it. Found a company called Books Are Fun who offers a book blast. It's a book raiser, right? So we're not raising money, but instead we're gonna raise some books. The company guarantees that every child in the building, so 518 books, will go home at bare minimum. Every child in the building will take home a book this summer. I have it coinciding that they come gift wrapped in each child's name. We'll open them that last week of school and send home their summer choice boards at the same time. The book raiser will begin May 12th. There'll be a little treasure chest piece of paper that everybody gets home, and it's one of those QR codes that you send out and share, and everybody will get a book to take home and read this summer, so hopefully it encourages some summer reading.
So that's just that QR code is just to donate money to it?
Yeah, you donate online.
Oh, awesome.
And whoever, there's some other benefits in there, teachers who get 60% class participation get a $100 gift card. If they get 100% participation from their class, they get a $200 gift card. The kids get prizes along the way and things like that.
Oh, that's neat.
Some schools will give their kids they can get a maximum of 10 books sent home in the summertime, depending on how much money is raised.
Oh,
And then,
nice.
yeah,
Dr. Mealy, does that go through the end of the school year?
it'll start May 12th, and it's a 2-week push. Yep.
Do they all get the same book or?
No, so pre-K through 8 has different titles. There are 10 titles for each grade level, and they're appropriate for what their reading level is.
So they just randomly are given
They're-
one, or does the
they're in-
teacher like suggest a book for a
No,
kid?
they're in order, so if I'm a first grade student, the first book everybody gets, the second book if you get 2 books,
Oh, I understand,
Yeah,
okay,
they're
so
assigned
in the grade
books.
level though, they all get the same book?
Yes.
Okay, that was what I was asking.
As far as I know.
Yeah, okay,
I mean,
whatever.
I might make liar of myself if everybody gets a different book.
So then also under policy and curriculum, Mrs. Ecker asked at one of the board meetings, like, hey, where do we find our policies and where do we, when things are updated, or where's the manual? So it kind of got me thinking, so I talked to Kate and Charlene, because they are on the policy committee. So, and then I talked to Mr. Newman and Mr. Lassard. I usually copy Mr. Sylvester too, but starting next month before our board meetings, the policy committee will meet, and we're gonna we asked Mr. Newman to dig up, did you do 5?
Oldest
That was
policy.
a lot, yeah, like old policies that we could be proactive in looking at and seeing if we need to update or renew. Just so that we're constantly looking and we're not being reactive to things. So we have our first set that we'll be reviewing April 28th at 5 p.m.
Janine, did you wanna do a summary on the Young Authors Conference, or no? Is that something
Oh
you
yeah,
wanna do?
thanks for the reminder,
course.
I really appreciate that. I told you guys about the Young Authors Conference. The Young Authors Conference is part of One Book, One Community. And the conference was on Saturday, March 5th. We had it was a small crew this year, we had about 48 or 51 students there. But we were here in the gym, in the building, they did a lot of writing sessions. The topic was unusual animal friends, so we had a pony and a goat with 2 babies come in the building, and the kids got to read a story to the pony and the goats. And not a big mess, so it was all good. And they did a lot of writing. It was a really, really nice event. So we're gonna start planning next year again with the region. It's a nice way to bring them all together.
And the night before that, I just remembered, we had our middle school 7th and 8th grade winter dance. That went off without a hitch. The kids had a blast. Everybody had a good time. The student council did a great job preparing. The decorations were wonderful. Food, pizza, whole 9. Like I said, the kids had a really good time.
Great.
We're so busy, we keep forgetting
Mr.
about all
Lassard,
these things.
do you have a presentation on the budget that you wanna go over, or you
Not a
want?
formal presentation
Okay,
this
great.
month, we will
I
at
love
the April meeting, and I'll just go through the summary of the budget, take any questions any board members have. Just in summary, the budget here presents, we are going to cap, which is a 4.03% levy increase. And I'm gonna highlight some of the major constraints that we had, and then I'll go into a little bit more detail. So first off, major increases, which are all fixed items that we had the salaries, of course, though they were going to 3.25% cumulatively, they ended up going up as a collective 2.7%, and that's just based on breakage and staffing shifts over the years. So it doesn't always, even though the salary contract was 3.25, how it averages out with breakage and stuff, that's how it worked out to 2.7. Transportation contracts, renewals are set by the state at 3.5%, 3.57%. So that's our to and from school transportation with CRAF. Medical and dental benefits, our medical insurance was going up at 9.66%. The state plan this year is going up 14%. Dental benefits 10%, property insurance 15%, energy, that's gas and electric 15%. Overall, those 6 items I just listed are 86% of our budget. So the rest is the discretionary items, the curriculum materials, supplies, maintenance of the facilities and everything. Now, we do try to put money each year into our maintenance reserve, that's what helps us when we have a boiler issue or anything major that has to do with safety and security and the ability to keep the school open, that goes to our maintenance reserve. So we try to make sure we have a little bit in there every year for any what ifs, but generally speaking, you're only looking at 14% of our budget is discretionary at that point. So with that said, I don't know if anyone wants to go through the full rundown of the summary by category, which I can certainly do. As just to kind of cut to the chase though, the results of what this budget is as proposed, we'll just say revenues, things that we had in here to try and offset. We do have some shared services we're working on for curriculum with Montague. That's a $25,000 offset we're hoping for. We do have $193,000 of tuition coming from other school districts, so we're trying to make the most. If we can bring the more students we can bring into our multiple disability program, the more it will offset or mitigate the per pupil costs and will reduce our overall costs. This year we've added another one, so that is going to save our budget at least another $53,000. The other 140 is offsetting the fact that we have to hire staff for it, and it's gonna mitigate some related service. Also in there, we have, we're taking out of our capital reserve $34,000 to demolish the TCU, which is about 12 years old, 14 at this point. There is info in here, I have the architects review, we had the architects come in and
I
the
saw
engineers take a look at it, and they confirmed it's not worth repairing unfortunately, but it does cause some shuffling of space inside
So where does she
the building.
go?
Well,
And
there's
isn't
4
there
of us.
pre-K in there?
We've started brainstorming that and we have a plan.
Okay.
Yeah, we do have a plan. The highlight there, what the effect is on the budget, which we'll talk more at the public hearing next month.
Do you know that?
The average increase for Branchville will be $212.72, Frankfurt $128.31.
Okay, do you want?
On the budget itself, that's page 4.
Saw it when I read it. Oh, yes.
So what, I know technically speaking, the base budget is capped at 2%. The state gives you growth adjustments based on certain items that they'll allow you to change your tax levy to go above the 2, and those adjustments are, 1, you get an adjustment for health insurance, so if the state goes over 2%, their renewal is more than 2%, and yours goes over 2%, you're allowed to increase your tax levy by the difference between the 2% and yours capped at whatever the state was an increase, so the state's going up to 14%. Any school district that had an increase in healthcare costs between 2 and 14% would get an automatic cap adjustment to cover that. So we were allowed $139,000 cap adjustment because our medical insurance rates went up 9.66%. Then we had, after that, we just had 2 years of banked cap left over. We had some from 22-23, which was $4,100. And we had $93,000 from last year that was not utilized, which allowed us to get to where we are. Obviously, it's not ideal going above the 2%, and it certainly is not popular. However, I mean, we went, as administration and as the board, we went through a lot of things trying to find wherever we could get chunks out of the budget. The bigger things, we're trying to work on some shared services as much as possible. The tuition was a big one. But the fact is, this year, there are so many items going up in cost. And another one is we're trying to work with the one-to-one nurse. That was a very costly item that we're trying to work on ways, working with the union to create a combo position or combined position that helps the staff member here, as well as saves a lot on the budget. So the big constraint was the fact of the matter is how much costs are increasing right now, fixed items, insurance. Is all these natural events are really driving up insurance rates. Energy is going up like crazy, we got a notice we're in a shared service program, the ACES program, which does public bids for all school districts across the state. And we were told, expect 15% on average if you do gas and electric, that's gonna average about 15%. So things are just, there's not a lot we can do, so if the goal is to only keep it at 2%, you really start squeezing your instructional program to where
Didn't we have
Very
the
noticeable.
percentage left over from last year to go to this, like, we didn't spend all of
So-
that.
last year, we were allowed to go 9.9%, we went, I think, 4.2,
Yeah.
4 point something like that, so the difference is, so you were not allowed to bank the difference between what you went to and the 9.9, but you were allowed to bank whatever you had allowable for growth adjustments, so we had
Oh,
an
okay.
enrollment growth adjustment that we didn't use.
Alright, I think I misunderstood that.
So that amount we were allowed to bank, but not the difference going up to the 9.9.
Oh, so we couldn't do 5% or whatever that.
No, couldn't do that this year. That last year was just a one-shot deal for everybody, one and done. Like use it or lose it, if you will.
I mean, the great news is from what we were looking at, and it was, last year was tough, very tough, and this year was again tough, but we did not lose programs for the students, and that was after losing programs last year and staff members last year, that was a big focus, that we wanted to make sure that we didn't lose we wanna be student oriented and give the kids the best experience that they can have here. So I lost sleep over one program that I was like, please don't tell me, please don't tell me. And the finance committee was great, Mr. Newman, Mr. Lassard, and Mr. Sylvester, working the numbers so that we avoid losing any programs for the students.
Like for this year versus going into the year after when we do next year's budget, the hope is that we have some high cost out of district placements that will be graduating to High Point, which will be helping our budget. But I tell you one concern I have right now, which, you know, we're fingers crossed, fortunately our grants aren't that significant, that it is a question as to whether our federal grants for next year, which we won't find out until most likely July, or as early as June, but most likely July is our federal ESEA grants, that's for Title I, Title II, Title III, those pay for
Is that the 180,000?
It's 150, right? For federal grants that we got.
150 is our IDEA special ed grant, so that pays for a lot of our summer stuff as well as all of our private placement tuition, pays for most of it. But if those get reduced, then I'll be looking through the budget, see if we have to rearrange things at the.
I'll be telling you, there's no recognition circle then. Be on that board.
That'll be the first one on the.
What month is that we funded that?
We usually
We
fund
put it on the
in
board and then
June,
give them
sometimes
a
it's
nice
later.
certificate like Mr. Newman.
That'd be
Yeah,
gave
there we
us.
go.
Laminate that
There you go.
certificate.
Laminated.
Yes, laminated, they put it in a nice, frame, hang it on the wall.
From the dollar store, that's right.
Much better than a $600.
So, does anyone have any questions or want some details on any specific items or?
So we wait until find out how much the federal government is gonna give us?
We won't find out, right now I have it planned for flat, in the budget. But if we, hopefully they tell us every year, plan for 80% of what you got. And generally speaking, it's almost always been the same amount. Just this year, they've had meetings to say, just in case things get changed, because obviously what's going on federal level, that we could be getting significantly less. I didn't wanna have to just plan for the what ifs and then put a big cushion in here or something to try and plan for that, so if it happens, we'll.
So we're going to the
Have to get
county
here.
with this, and then we'll approve it in April, right? So the county comes back and says, okay, and then we approve this in April, but then we still stand the chance that in July, we're negative,
If the
So we're-
grants come back,
right?
less than ideal, then we'll start really.
Is there ever a July where we don't have to have a meeting?
Oh, well, no, we won't have to have a meeting for that.
Why do
We
they
don't
think
have to
they're
have-
gonna come back less this year?
Only because, speculation with the president cutting back
Just
on
cuts
federal
on everything.
programs, so that's really what it's based on.
Thought the
that's the only
schools were
federal
supposed to
money.
get more though. It's supposed to come back to
No,
the
it's
state
not, for,
schools.
not, yeah, they want it more local
Right.
Yeah.
Trying to get
than
more
they
local.
wanted, they're looking at the Department of Education federally.
So that would give more
Possibly
money back to the
eliminating
schools though.
No, they wanna put it back onto the state level.
Right.
So it'd give the state more money to give to the schools.
And really what it sounds like overall,
Yeah.
I don't know for sure, but what it sounds like overall is they want locally, right? They want you locally to be funding your school.
Right, they want like people in New Jersey to pay for New Jersey students.
But, and then they want like the town,
Like
the
Sussex
town,
County.
like Frankfurt
I
is
feel
gonna
like
get their
Sussex
money from
County
Frankfurt
schools.
and Branchville, whoever lives here,
Hopefully.
that's who would pay. And so that's where your property taxes would just go up, but there's also, I think, a levy on that, isn't there?
There's a limit on it, that's
Yeah.
that 2%. Cap.
So,
And those solar panels, aren't they ours?
They are.
Did we get any kickback from
We,
that?
what we do is, technically speaking, they are owned by Sunlight General, they paid for the install and we buy the electricity from them at a rate that's below what JCP&L would charge.
And our rate's still going up?
Yes.
Well, they do, they're capped to how much they can grow each year, but we only get some of our electricity from there because it's only on sunny days that we're generating electricity, so they're getting most of it in the summer, but we don't get
it's not as much as you would think.
it's not as much of a savings as you would think.
So, Mr.
Honestly, it's not a huge savings.
So how does
Going
any
solar.
of that benefit us then?
You just get a reduced electric rate.
Yeah, it's
So
just
they, did
it's,
they pay us for the property at least to put these solar
No.
panels on?
No.
We just,
no, we will own them after 30 years, we're about
And then they're
10
obsolete.
or 12 years.
And then you're gonna pay to recycle them and don't even get me started on that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the pay to participate for 2024, 2025, you also had an analysis of that and
Yes,
we're hoping
so-
not to raise that amount, except that now we've lost 2 buses that the school owns, so the transportation costs to your athletic events is now going to be factored into this. So I think this year we were doing okay, right? But next year
Yes.
with the transportation to extracurriculars, Mr. Lessard has a whole,
Yeah, I'll give you,
dissertation
I'll
on
move
that.
on to that. So essentially, pay to participate for this year, we still have a few signups, I think, left for track. We might bring in a little bit more activity fees, but we're hoping, fingers crossed, we're gonna come really close to breaking even.
What page are you on?
This is on the packet page 18. I just have an analysis of everything as of the beginning of March. So right now, we still have for activities, we have track is waiting to happen and as well as the chorus and music event in June, which will pretty much, I'm guessing, should get us almost to 0, which is great. But as Mandy said, we are losing 2 buses this year. And then, which will also cause us to need to contract out more transportation next year for our activities.
What's the 2 losing 2 buses, what is that?
2 buses that we own.
Yeah, we have 2 buses that they're reached their end of
Oh, like
life.
they've aged out.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
it becomes a point where it's either we finance 2 buses and
Yeah, or we source
Quick.
out.
or we source it out, cause the financing versus the drivers that are really hard to find, for the same price we'll have the
Is there
contractors.
any way to like sell those buses for any minimal profit?
We're gonna list them at auction, my guess is we'll probably get for, on average, about $10,000 per bus. So, but they're reaching end of life, I think we could get one more year, but the maintenance repairs they are just like.
That
And
money
the
doesn't go
budget for
back,
that school, right?
where does that money go back to?
Yeah, they just can't be
Right.
used for school kids, that'll just be miscellaneous revenue.
So can we put any of that money into the pay to play, like to make it?
Or
so
the
that-
sewer project?
We can certainly discuss it, how we wanna use it, yeah. We can do it, the pay to play.
Miscellaneous, it's where it's needed.
Yes.
I mean, it's funny how the state lets you, or doesn't let you use miscellaneous, so if we get it, I have to actually petition the commissioner to use miscellaneous revenue, it's supposed to just sit there and you gotta request its use from the superintendent of the county. Not a big deal, we can figure that out. But certainly I'm hoping we get $10,000 per bus.
So this leads into the next thing of transportation bids, but you already explained our transportation cost percentage going up, I don't really remember it, it's high.
Yeah,
And
so
then we're
this-
adding the 2 contracted routes.
Correct, so the transportation bids resolution is to go to bid for the 2 additional bus routes, as well as do a second bid for all of our school-related activities, so I wanna, last time we did this, out of all of our routes, we got bids for about 2 of them. I'm hoping we can word it a little bit better to get fixed rates for more of our activities. And then any routes that we don't have someone available to drive, we'll know the rate we'll be charged for doing it, yeah. So that's going to affect, that's where it will affect activity fees, but we will know by the time this bid is, we'll have a better idea of what to estimate and see what we can do about, avoiding major impacts to the activity fee rate.
And we'll make our current transportation provider, aware that we're doing this as well, because I know when you and I had to sit down with the 2 people from the transportation company, when we had that first delayed opening / closure of the school year, they said like, oh, we didn't even see that come through. So if we just give them a friendly heads up, like, hey, we're doing this, like our current, transportation provider that we're using will most likely give us, I would assume, in theory, give us a good deal.
Right,
Yeah.
great. TCU evaluation.
TCU, that was included in your packet, page 20, just the architect's analysis of the structure. So essentially, where did we put this thing in?
A long time
It was a very
ago.
long time ago.
Now we're gonna
15
tear it
years
down.
ago. Anyhow, it sits on, well, it's still on its frame, but sits on blocks, but it's just gravel underneath, so.
Do we have bids for that work?
That work? No, not yet. Brian's getting quotes through co-op for it.
And then the 4 employees that are in that need to pack up and move their stuff, so you're working on a place to put their
Yes.
stuff?
Oh, yes, yeah.
Does it fit on a cart, Ms. Dutchamy?
Everything but the meetings that I have, I'm figure out what to do, we'll just sit in the hallway.
Yeah.
We'll work on it, but that is planned to remove this, starting in
Okay.
June.
And then we had a fire drill and school safety drill.
Yeah.
That's next. Sorry, Mr. Lasardi, you done?
Yep, you're fine.
Well, I think we also had a discussion too about the potential of replacing the TCU with a different structure as well, if that was possible as well.
It looks to me
So
like
I'm
Mr.
hoping-
Lasard
I'm
could move
hoping
his
that
office
The issue
to a cart
is,
and you could move in there.
if we build a structure at
There's a
prevailing
big
wage,
table
it'll
in
be
there.
significant, so
There
I'm
used
trying
to
to
be
see
in
if
there.
there's a way to go somewhere and buy one that's already built,
Right.
A modular?
Yeah.
modular and have it.
You know, I know this guy. I know this guy who's
Yeah.
selling his 27-foot RV.
Oh, is it 36 foot or something? Isn't it 30-something foot?
I know school is selling a couple of buses.
Right.
So selling some buses.
That's a great idea.
Park 2 buses, weld them
Put
together.
them together.
That's not a bad
That'll
idea.
work.
It would be like
bad
a
idea.
container
Get the
home.
seats.
That's all.
I was just about to say, $20 Don Reinertson can do it.
Yes. We'll have a garden.
Done.
So
We're gonna be jealous.
Board approved.
So we're gonna explore all options, it's not a done deal that the 4 employees will be moving back in the building or trying to find space, so we're gonna exhaust all options to try to make it work. But
The
unfortunately,
bus thing isn't.
based on the architect's report, like it's a safety concern now.
We'll need a lot of curtains, 54 of them.
So I think that, was there a fire drill today?
No, it was last
last
week,
week?
and we'll have our safety drill this week,
Okay,
so we just haven't had it yet, but the safety drill will be sometime this week.
great. Okay. And do we need to go into an executive session? I did have
Just real quick.
just one thing. Yeah, I actually had 1 or 2 things. All right, so motion to go in. You ready?
15 minutes.
Let's be quick. It's St. Patrick's Day. Has plans.
Or be
Everyone wants a
crock
nice
pot.
green
Yeah.
Good, you?
I think we're gonna be good.
Second, yeah,
We'll be
second.
gone by.
We're gonna be good probably in like 10 minutes.
Okay, perfect.
We probably don't even have
Maybe
to grab
less.
this stuff.
Maybe less, maybe less. We'll see how fast we can go.
Wait, did we motion to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did, okay, missed that, sorry.
We had it. Yeah,
It says in here, January, must be worded wrong. We had the same issue last week.
on the
Wrong
consent
month,
agenda,
sorry.
you have January's meeting for the meeting minutes, but it should be
The same thing
February.
happened last meeting.
He probably changed it from December to January, I remember that one was awesome.
You also missed my birthday on the list of dates there, Mr. Lissar.
Yeah, not included, that thing happened.
Okay, we are back in session and we are going to vote on the consent agenda. So be it resolved that the Frankfurt Township Board of Education accept the recommendation of the superintendent of schools to approve the above identified regular agenda items numbered 2025-0317-03 through 2025-0317-32. Am I going all the way through?
24, there's a budget consent as well.
Oh, wrong one, through 24. Oh, okay, okay, so it's items 3 through 24, Kate Adams,
Yes,
Jamie
we
Armando.
need a motion.
We need a motion.
Motion,
Oh.
Kate motion,
Second.
Kate, yes.
Kate was motion, and Kate. I'm very good at that. Kate Adam for your
Yes.
vote. Jamie Armando,
Yes.
Chris Dexter,
Abstain 3 and 4, yes on everything else.
Charlene Molnar,
Yes.
Chelsea Stoll,
Yes.
Don Tiger,
Yes.
Jesse Vaughn,
Yes.
Caitlin Freda,
Yes.
Mandy Joust, yes. So now we have the budget consent agenda.
Yes, and I have numbers for item number 25, so it would be general fund total expenditures is 11,921,674. Anticipated revenues is 1,327,374. Taxes to be raised 10,594,300. Total at the other end is total expenditures 12,354,962. Less anticipated revenues of 1,642,572. Total taxes, including debt service, 10,712,390.
Did you get that, Dominic? Alright.
Motion,
Motion for this consent agenda.
second.
Be it resolved that the Frankfurt Township Board of Education accept the recommendation of the superintendent of schools to approve the above identified regular agenda items numbered 2025-0317-25 through 2025-0317-32. Do I need to say what 32 is or?
No.
Okay, 32. Roll call. Charlene Molnar,
Yes.
Chelsea Stoll,
Yes.
John Tiger,
3-2, is that the one we just added?
yes.
Yeah, wait, let me read 3-2 off, I just closed it. Motion to approve a request from Ronnie DeFranco to donate 30 days of accumulated sick time to, Sharon Yaros. Then roll call.
Charlene Molnar,
Yes.
Chelsea Stoll,
Yes.
John Tiger,
No to the first one, yes to the second one. No to taxes and yes to,
Okay, so 25 to 31.
yes to Ronnie, okay. Jesse Vaughn,
Yes.
Caitlin Fredo,
Yes.
Mandy Joust, yes. Kate Adam,
Yes.
Jamie Armando,
Yes.
Chris Dexter.
Yes.
Motion to open public comment.
Motion, second.
Any public comment? Motion to close public comment.
Motion.
Second.
Other items in good of the order, our next meeting is April 28th. Complete your annual ethics disclosure and governance training. I know I put this out there and we do have one board member, or maybe his wife, willing to chaperone the 8th grade dance, and that's Chris Dexter. So thank you, Chris Dexter, for your volunteerism. And then I did put out a message to our 3 parents of 8th graders, so handing out diplomas this year will be Charlene Molnar, Caitlin Fredo, and Jesse, no, who's the other 8th grader? And John Tiger. So they'll hand out the 8th grade diplomas
Be there next year.
next year. I'll end my service right in the middle of Greenway's year, so I won't do it
Also, May 6th is the Sussex County School Board Association meeting at Newton Country Club. I highly recommend you guys go. They're great, and they're going to be recognizing Mrs. O'Telling from Kittatinny, who got County Teacher of the Year, County, right?
No,
Yeah.
she
Yes.
got
State?
county?
County Teacher of the Year.
County.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, COTY. Yeah.
So it's a great night. I recommend you register. It's in your email. It's easy to register online.
So that's me and Wyatt's mom.
Yes. Frankfurt Mom.
That's Frankfurt mom. Doing great things. Okay, anybody else? Any other items? Motion to
Happy St. Patrick's
adjourn.
Motion.
You have one?
Second, said Happy St. Patrick's.
Oh, happy St. Patrick's Day. I love all your green.
Yeah, I'm really great, right?